we wanted to ask you to cast Harry Potter in hockey players.
We need a Snape, Dan. We need a Snape.
There's got to be like a scary coach.
Yeah, Rod the Bod. Or Torts. Torts is Snape. Torts is Argus Filch, the caretaker.
Okay, we're back. We're starting it off with Hockey Halloween is amongst us, and the San Jose Sharks kicked us off with a very early Halloween party because their schedule does not.
Yeah, I think we
line
kind of surprised people on doing Halloween on
Shocking,
the first
but
weekend.
also full stop. You and your housemates won Halloween, like full stop. If you have not seen it, go to Kat's Instagram. She made the boys dress up as Hocus Pocus with her, and it was amazing. And then they even got someone to play Billy, and
Billy
the
Butcherson.
just everything about it, just that little 5-second reel you teased to the world. I loved it so much. I am such a big Hocus Pocus fan.
Oh, you know.
That when you made Billy run across, like the way that the zombie run across, like, and I know those boys don't even know what the heck this movie is.
Mhm.
Like, it was so good. And Tyler was so good. His lipstick was
He
so
committed.
good.
Tyler committed in a way I just didn't even foresee, I guess. So today we have the Empty Netters on. So they're going to be on in a bit. They're so much fun. I kind of wish they were at the Halloween party because they're a time. So we'll get to them. But yeah, so Hocus Pocus is one of my favorite movies. And it's an easy costume for me, you know, Sarah Sanderson. That's, you know,
Yeah,
I just put on
done.
heavy makeup. That's fine.
Twins.
But yeah, right. But Ty committed to being Winifred. And then we were like, well, you know,
He was a beautiful Winnie,
he
I will
was
say.
beautiful. He committed. And then Michael. So we kind of just told Michael that he was going to be.
Okay, so let's go back. Is it official? Is Michael moved into the Toffoli house
Yes. So Michael is our official housemate. He is making his.
for the season?
Yes. So he's living with us. He's so sweet. But he's our official housemate, and he's a good time, as you can tell, because
I love
when
it.
I told him he was wearing a dress, he didn't have anything to say. He just said, "Okay, funny." And then I was like, have you seen this movie? Have you heard of this movie, Hocus Pocus? He's like, "No." It's
No,
like, okay.
Great.
Well,
Here's
we're
a
going to
little
watch it.
education.
Yeah, so the night before Hockey Halloween, a couple nights ago, I made him watch it with us. And it was really interesting watching Hocus Pocus through the eyes of an 18-year-old who has never heard of it before.
Well, if we're doing the math, like this movie was a decade or more older than them.
1993 it came out.
Yeah.
So everything from I felt responsible for it as he was watching it, kind of, you know, like some of the jokes aren't like really funny anymore, I guess. And some, you know, the humor's different and
it
whatever.
was
So
great. Y'all nailed it. They leaned in. Who
Yes.
played Billy? Who
So
was that?
that was a last minute ad. That was Sam Dickinson. He is the other rookie here. And
He needed a costume.
He needed a
and you-
costume. So I stepped in and I was like, all right, let's keep adding to this Hocus Pocus.
I love it.
So he came in also very willing to do whatever we asked. And
He should win an Academy Award. That run, that
well, yes, the run was hilarious, and we filmed that so fast because we were late to the party, and you know, hockey
sure.
players being late is like, oh, they're just ready to go. So we did that in like one take, and I didn't even see what it was until I
it was
posted
amazing. Who was actually who was doing the filming?
Who filmed it?
Was it Dumb and Dumber?
It might have been Will Mack. It was so fast. So me and Sam filmed Will and Mac's Dumb and Dumber thing, and then right after that, somebody handed the camera to someone, and then we did our Hocus Pocus, and then we were out. But
So
yeah,
y'all are just real making machines there over in San Jose. I love it.
I mean, you should just see my house before something like this. There's just like the guys show up in costume. Will and Mac showed up in their Dumb and Dumber, rang my doorbell, and I was like, that's crazy fitting. That's hilarious that they leaned into this costume. And then at the party, we had a best costume, and Sam won. It's Billy Butcherson. So
I love it.
yeah,
Well,
the
congrats.
rookie. He got to stand up and do a little speech in front of the whole team in his
He was
goth
probably
makeup.
thrilled.
Yeah, he was. It was a sweet moment. Everyone was like, "Welcome to the NHL."
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Well, this is such a fun time of year, not only because hockey is back and in full swing, but hockey Halloweens are such a big deal and kind of the kickoff to everybody's season.
Have
So,
we thought of
Have
our
we
costumes?
thought? Oh, we are thinking. The thing with us is we might be like re-wearing a costume because we've done so many, and I'm kind of getting lazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm also having to do like 4 children's costumes. So
Yeah.
I'm just like a bit exhausted, but then like I don't want to be like lame. So, but also the conundrum that Jeff and I are in is that we are much older on the team. So like some of our funny ideas aren't going to register with the younger crowd.
Hocus Pocus did.
But that's a classic.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to dress up as Matthew McConaughey and the girl from Dazed and Confused,
Mhm.
but this crowd, nobody's gonna know it. They won't
Yeah.
know. So then we just look like.
Well, that's another
idiots.
thing with Hockey Halloween when you don't when a couple walks in and people don't know the costume, it's a little
Yeah.
awkward.
So we're still in the works. We're still in process. We've got a couple of ideas coming. I don't know. I just don't know. But it's coming. We have a couple of weeks. We're actually doing it the week of Halloween, so we have some time.
Wow, that's rare.
Yeah, I'm going back to Michigan this week, so I'm gonna dig through like the costume bins there.
Oh, fun.
But yeah, so I'm so excited to maybe we'll like do some ranking or something, but at the end of the month with like costumes and things
we
like
have
that.
to. I feel like we have to. And yeah, we'll see how many like pop culture ones, how many people like there at ours there were 2 Ricky Bobbies. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just like funny like what happens. But
Yeah,
we
like
should
what's
definitely
relevant and
Yeah.
things like that. So
we should rank.
that is that. This week has been crazy. We typically release our podcast. You know, you guys are with us. You're here right now. We typically release on Tuesdays. We're releasing this on Wednesday because all of our schedules are crazy bananas. So that's how it's just going to kind of be this year, I feel. We're going to mostly stick to Tuesdays, but occasionally and for the next couple of weeks, we're going to release on different dates because, you know, we just have crazy lives, but we still
and-
want to bring you the goods. So
For those new here, I am not a morning person, and we are filming this in the morning right now.
yeah,
so-
she's doing great. She's doing great. But anyway. So thanks for kind of bearing with us and being not being flexible. I mean, it's a podcast. Listen to it whenever the heck you want to. But we are going to chat with the guys from Never Offside, Dan and Chris. They are
Empty Netters.
Yeah. Whatever.
Never Offside.
They're now from Never Offside.
Add that to the list of bloopers. I
Just
think you
keep
should.
her rolling. You know, it's early for me too.
I
usually.
thought about not stopping you. I thought about
You
just
should have.
really-
I said it and I was like, oh, that didn't sound right, but I'm going to keep going. Anyways, Dan and Chris from Empty Netters, we would love them to be part of Never Offside.
Yeah.
Maybe we just are going to chat with them about everything, how they got into this podcasting gig. We are going to have them cast their favorite movie with NHL players. And they give us such sound advice and tell some hilarious stories. So if you don't follow them already, you're missing out because they are just such wonderful storytellers and have such great things to share. So that will be up next on Never Offside.
All right, welcome back to Never Offside. We are here with our 2 guests. They are the co-hosts of the wildly popular podcast Empty Netters. Dan and Chris, they're basically wags when it comes to pop culture and hockey combined. So they make a lot of sense on this show, to be honest. So welcome, Dan and Chris.
I've never received a bigger compliment in my life. If I could be forever known as a wag, then I'm happy.
You know, that's
Couldn't
just
agree
kind of
more. Couldn't agree more.
It's hilarious because we hate the term wag, but I don't know. Some take it as a badge of honor.
Yep, we hate the term wag, but honestly, when I sit at a game with you guys, you are part of the wives and
It's true.
girlfriend.
It's true.
I
And you know
love
what?
that.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah, and with how seriously I take the family room, then I deserve this title. So yeah,
I
That
really
makes perfect
appreciate
sense.
how much you invest in the whole culture that is the family room, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I first met Dan when Tyler came on the podcast. I was a little bit early, so Dan knew my white wine order. And a couple glasses later, I'm on your podcast with Tyler.
Oh yeah. It didn't take a lot of convincing. I mean, honestly, like, Kat sat over on the couch, was like, "Oh, I don't want to be on camera. I don't need to chime in." But then we were having a great time. The wine was flowing, and there were a couple questions that needed to be weighed in on. So you did exactly that. It was perfect.
Full
I need to get this
disclosure.
episode like bumped up to me. I need to see her podcast debut.
Full disclosure, I never listened to it because a couple glasses of wine, my California accent really just gets, So I heard a little bit of it, and I was like, "Oh, that's my California drunk accent."
Kat,
right there.
I actually don't know if I've ever told you this, but shortly after that episode came out, our mutual friend Teddy Purcell texted me and was like, "So we're having wives on the podcast now?" And I was like,
Dan,
"Oh yeah."
But Dan,
Yeah.
remember, because Kat, that was actually the dream, because that was pretty early in the pod, and we've
Oh, yeah.
always been like, man, I'd just be sick if people came on and we could have drinks and their friends or their wives, everybody could come on, and it just hadn't really happened yet. And we're like, we'll get there, and then you showed up, and it was like, bang, that was the vision.
It was
There
perfect.
it is.
Like, Kat set the bar. She made
Yep.
the dream come true.
That's
I love that.
somewhat mortifying that Teddy texted you that. That's why I didn't listen to it.
now
so-
we're having- we know Teddy back from Edmonton days, so that's like we're
There
all
you go.
connected here. But it's nice to meet you guys. Kat was sending me, I know you guys just as empty netters. Like I love when you guys pop up on my feed. You're always full of energy and have all the life. But I don't know anything about your backstory really. So of course I'm doing like quick Google searches, Chat GPT, like what do you got for me real quick? And Dan and Chris are my mother and father-in-law's names, so this is very easy to remember this
Wow.
duo. Yeah. So
Wow.
I would like to read y'all what ChatGPT has to say about y'all. So Dan Powers, the older brother, Dan has a bit more of the straight man energy between the two. Quick with analysis and hockey insight, but still leans into the humor. He often drives the conversation and brings structure to their episodes. Chris Powers, the younger brother. Chris is known for his bigger personality and comedic takes. He's the one who often turns their banter into laugh out loud moments and leans into cultural and lifestyle side of hockey fandom. So is ChatGPT right?
You know what?
How have we never checked this, Dan? That is amazing.
Honestly, the second Julie said it, I was like, "Oh, I've never thought that you can chat GPT people now."
Yes,
I mean,
you can
I'm
do
still,
anything
I'm
with
in the
it.
Stone Ages here, still using Google, but out the gate, brutal for ChatGPT because I am younger. But otherwise,
Oh my God! See?
otherwise, pretty spot on. I'm not going to sit here and act like ChatGPT didn't kind of nail that.
I'm
Well, all-
so fired up right now. That was actually very accurate. And this always happens when we meet people. They're like, "Who's older?" And we're always like, "Guess." And it's always Dan because Dan's dressed really nice and Dan has nice things hanging on the walls. And he always gets this. And he's like, "Dude, I'm younger. This is bullshit." And now,
no.
if ChatGPT says it's true, everybody knows
Uh-oh.
that. So now
Oh,
it's confirmed
no.
forever. that
Chris's Wi-Fi sucks.
Chris-
That's why people think he's younger too.
Well, it's funny because the rest of ChatGPT did say that you guys have never disclosed your birth years out loud, I guess, so they couldn't give me the answer. Or
Oh, you're like
Oh,
famous
interesting.
actresses.
yes.
Yeah. It's our PR team. They don't let us do that.
So do you want to give your birth years? So if
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
break that?
I'm an 89. CP's an 87.
87.
And I mean, I guess now that I think about it, we've never possibly said that out loud that plainly, but I feel like we talk about it in hidden ways. So I'm upset with ChatGPT. They should have been able to decipher that.
We'll get it right, and now they can fact check themselves. And
I mean,
the next
Chris just sounds like a recluse via ChatGPT.
Oh, I mean, like, Kat, you've seen his Instagram. Like, the kid's got a burner. He is basically Black Ops offline here.
Maybe his burner was the one who asked us the fan question that we had already
Oh.
thought of. We
Yep.
have to come back to that, but
We'll
we
come
had
back to
Oh,
it.
interesting.
we have some
Interesting.
great fan questions, and one of them was exactly one that we came up with on our own, and we were like, "Who's
Like
in our
word
head?
for word, it was
like
actually.
word?" So
Oh yeah,
maybe
that's strange.
maybe it is. Anyways, well, it's nice to meet y'all. I gotta go to the beginning. Like, how did Empty Netters come about? Like, we're in this podcast world now. It's just crazy how you get to certain places.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think the craziness level is pretty similar because, I mean, Kat, when you were sitting in that studio with us, I don't think you were sitting there going, you know what, I need a podcast of my own. So it does kind of just pop up. But on true story, Julie, is like this was never on the radar for us ever. And we moved to LA 13 years ago, and we got into the entertainment industry, writing movies and TV, and that's what we still do. And we wrote I mean, I imagine both. Kat, I know you do, but Julie, have you seen the show Friday Night Lights?
Yes, I'm a Texas girl, so of
Yep,
course.
that's why I assumed. It is one of the greatest shows of all time.
All time.
So we wrote and started developing a prep school hockey kind of version of that show. And then COVID hit and the entertainment industry shut down. Productions were all put to a halt, and we were all kind of sitting around twiddling our thumbs. And this company and their execs had read that hockey show, and they were like, hey, we are an internet company. We have a bunch of Instagram pages, and you guys clearly know hockey really well. We have a hockey fan base. Can you create an Instagram page for us? So that's literally all it was. During COVID, when the internet took over, we got paid to create an Instagram page and make memes and hockey jokes. So that's where Empty Netters came about. And then when the world reopened and these guys met us and heard us talking about hockey like psychopaths, they were like, you should have a podcast. And the rest is history. It's insane.
Wow. Well, are you gonna still do the hockey show? Because I feel like the world needs it.
I completely agree, and yes, that is the plan. It is still in
Okay.
development, and what's tough is all of the, and Chris, you are part of the problem here. All of these like smut hockey books and articles are taking over, so now all of these networks are like, you know what we should really make this show about is just like hardcore romance and sex, and we're
I
like,
was gonna say.
No,
So-
We got a
want
lot of those
Tim
questions
Riggins.
from
We want
fans.
yeah, we want the hockey Tim Riggins. Let's go.
trust me, and so does he.
So do I. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, truly.
Well, that's awesome. That I can agree. Like Kat and I don't think we used to walk Mount Royal in Montreal and just chit chat about anything and everything, kind of being our own GMs, if you will, about life, hockey, conspiracy theories, you name it.
A lot of those, yeah.
And we never thought about a podcast, but it now makes sense that we have it. So that's a really cool story. And your guys' energy, I just love it. Every time something's on, I'm glued. And my boys are in the background, like, you guys do all the rankings, and they're like, they think they're going to win the cup, like, blah. So it's so funny.
It was funny when we were trying to think of our logo here. You know, we were kind of overthinking it, as we do. And we went to your page, and we were like, oh, it's just an empty net. Okay, well,
Yes.
Guys,
Like,
it's not that deep.
Oh, it's just the
It's
emoji.
not.
Oh.
it's just the emoji.
literally an
even
emoji.
better.
and it really helped us. So thank you. We
Hey.
were like, oh,
That's what we're here for.
I still not sure about our logo because they did like caricatures of us. And I look like I'm a little bit redhead. So it's we're in year 2. Maybe we can get maybe we should do an emoji one next year, Kat.
yeah, maybe.
Well, you just made a huge mistake, Julie, because now we are forever going to refer to you as the redhead, and that's your nickname now. So
That's fine. I can totally rep that. So we're good.
All right, so hockey-wise, I don't think I've ever asked you guys this. How far did you get in hockey? Because when you Google you guys, it's that whole thing about now you're like beer league stars or whatever that.
Well, and I don't believe what chat will tell me. So.
Yeah, we don't believe
True.
ChatGPT.
I
so.
They can't
have
even
this
get our
whole
age right.
story. Yeah, I have this whole story that you played at certain places, but let's hear it.
Yeah, so
Well, I want to hear the story now. What's the cool story?
Well, you guys are from Boston.
first of all, we're from Maine, so
See, they suck. Okay, never. everybody listening,
You act like
Do-
you're from Boston, kind of, though, when it comes to sports.
do not rely
yeah,
on ChatGPT.
fandom wise.
Yes.
Yeah, fandom wise, we were raised Boston fans for sure.
And Dan, where were you born, Dan?
I was born in Boston.
I thought so. Yeah,
That's
you were like
true.
born right at Mass
Okay.
General. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, I don't feel like I'm just relying on complete nonsense now.
Yeah, no, we were born in the Boston area, and I lived there for a little while with my parents. Obviously, lived there for a little while, and then Dan, you pretty much lived in Maine your whole life.
Oh, not pretty much.
Yeah.
Day one.
Took you straight
baby.
home to Maine.
Day
Yeah,
one.
that's sick. Dan's a Mainer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we both went to prep school, which is I think where you were headed, Julie. We went to New England Prep. I was at Phillips Exeter, and Dan was at Phillips Andover, which is funny because those are arch rival schools, and every time someone sees like the bumper sticker on my parents' car, like Phillips Exeter, they're like, "Oh, you guys are an Exeter family," and I'm like, "Actually, my brother went to the school we hate more than any school on earth." So it was quite the family feud growing up, trying to figure out the rooting interest.
You're like Will
And
Mack,
after
basically.
prep.
Yes.
Yes,
Honestly.
literally exactly right. But I give Dan a ton of credit though because Andover. Well, we always bicker because Andover was founded first, so he's like Andover's better. But then Exeter is way more strict. It came after, and they were like, "We got to make this more serious." Like I was shirt and tie every day, class on Saturday, and Dan was like wearing sweatpants to school and doing whatever he felt like.
Excuse me. Never did I do that. People did it. I did not do that.
Yeah, that's true. So we did prep, New England prep, then tried the junior circuit up in New England, though, like Laconia and that area. And then you kind of hit this point where, or at least I'll let Dan speak for himself too, but you hit this point where you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to college. I always dreamed of playing college hockey, but then it's like you get these D3 offers, and I really wanted to do engineering. I was a math and science guy. And all the NESCAC schools, for the most part, where I was going to go are liberal arts schools, where it was like, oh, man. So I either play 4 years of D3 hockey but then leave with a degree I don't want for the rest of my life, or go do engineering and be like, okay, never mind. I'm just going to stop. Super long debate, discussion. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And I was like, actually, all right, I'm going for it. I'm going to do the school thing, do engineering. So I stopped playing hockey, go do engineering, but then end up at Duke to do electrical engineering there. And they do the club hockey stuff. So I was like, oh, sick. I'll play club here. And it was so fun because it was like, most of these kids are played pretty good, but they're in this thing just to have fun. And I was coming from like quite good hockey, and they were like, "Oh, dude, this is sick. You want to be on the team? You're a captain." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And like
that's
my
fun.
parents would come
Awesome.
fly down to the games, watch, and it was such. I honestly had such an incredible camaraderie on that team that I thought I was giving up. When I made that decision to stop playing, I was like, "Oh, that's over forever." And then I got that back, and it was such a treat. So yeah, played at
How
Duke,
fun.
and now, by the way, club hockey's getting so huge. Like there's
big.
teams becoming D1, and they get to play at the outdoor games. It's amazing.
Yep.
So it was awesome for me, and I'm so thrilled to see what it's becoming.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, not to mention that UNC NC State game had like
Yeah.
80,000 people at it last year. It's like
Oh, I didn't
it's
see
taken
that.
over. Yeah, it's crazy. They played in the stadium series where the Hurricanes played. Then those two club college teams did a game, and it was like the biggest thing all season. It was amazing.
Wow. Well, you guys
love
started
it.
it.
Yeah, well done, Chris.
That was me.
So similar story. I from Andover. We had a great team. Played with Chris Kreider, Garnet Hathaway over there. Bobby Farnham was on that team. We were awesome. And I did the junior circuit after that with the Leafs and the Monarchs, and then did some stuff up in Lewiston with the Maniacs. And then it was just like every guy who's not quite good enough. The story ends with a brutal injury and being like, okay, I think I'm done here. And I will say, not to get too emotional like Chris did, but like it was funny, like stepping away from hockey and being like, am I a clown? Like, do I have nothing in my life that I care about? And then figuring out what we wanted to do in entertainment, coming out here to LA, and then finding Beer League that's just filled with tons of awesome guys who played all over, reconnecting with people you played with back in New England and Canada, and now getting to do this. It's like, we both kind of have the cool story of we feel like we left hockey when it was the most important thing in our lives, and then somehow years and years later it came back to us, and it's like, I always say I love what we do in the entertainment world. It's the most incredible thing in the world. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. But, getting to make up stories and write little tales for a living is pretty special. But then at the end of the day, getting to be back in this world and be back surrounded by your people, which is really how we felt like we were raised and grew up in the hockey world, has been the most lovely surprise of all time for us. So that's pretty great.
Oh, well,
But
speaking
Dan,
of
I gotta say
emotional,
though, well, hold on, Dan. Dan, you said you weren't emotional when you stopped playing hockey, and that is a fucking lie because Dan called me. Because I'm older, contrary to ChatGPT's belief, Dan called me when he got
In the
hurt and
hospital
he was going
bed.
to stop playing. Yeah, and I was at it was on a Saturday. I was at a college football game, and I stepped out of the game with all my friends to take Dan's, say, well, I'm quitting hockey forever. And I missed the game to be a good big brother just so he could cry from the hospital bed. So you were emotional, and I'm nice.
That is all true.
wow.
I have to admit.
Well, give us your emotions now. You're playing in the LA celebrity game together. Like,
Oh my God. How great was that? Well, you know what? There's a couple of funny stories about that. First of all, huge shout out to the Kings and Crypto.com. They did the coolest event ever. I couldn't believe how well that came together. That was right on the tail end of Four Nations. And we were on the road up in Montreal. I know that 2 huge Montreal fans here.
Yep.
We were up in Montreal, then go to Boston. And that tournament ended on a Thursday, I think. Is that right, Chris? The final game was on Thursday.
Yes.
And we woke up Friday morning after being on the road for like 2 weeks of just, craziness. So tired, I was getting sick, just like needing to get the hell out of there. We recorded on Friday morning to recap the whole tournament. And then Chris hopped on a plane and went back to LA. And he was like, yeah, because we've got the celebrity thing on Sunday afternoon. I coincidentally had a college friend's wedding in Boston on that Saturday. So I just I didn't have an excuse. And I remember I was like, hey man, I probably can't make it. It's the middle of Four Nations. And then he hit me up and he was like, hey, the wedding's in Boston. How convenient. And I was like,
oh,
yes, how convenient.
Yeah.
So I go to this wedding. I'm dead tired. Like I said, getting sick. I leave the wedding at the second it was appropriate enough to leave. I left the wedding, went back to the hotel, slept, woke up at 4 a.m, got on a 6 a.m. flight, got picked up at the airport by Redmond, our producer, and who drove me straight to Crypto. So I was just like off the plane and immediately in that game. And it was craziness. All the people that were, on our teams and our locker rooms. And the funniest for me was I get into the locker room and there's a mass of people in our locker room. And I was like, all right, this is a cool event, but what the hell's going on? This is not that cool. And you get into the locker room and you just see that Bieber's in there. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like this is because it was all the families, kids and people like that. Well, I mean, a lot of the wags too wanted to take pictures with Justin Bieber. And I get over there and see that he is standing right in front of my locker. And they did it up so great with all the nameplates and the jerseys hanging. And I was kind of like, oh, that's funny. He's standing in my locker. And the backstory is Justin has played beer league with us 10 or 12 times.
Oh, wow.
But he comes in and, gets on the ice, plays, and gets the hell out of it. Doesn't really talk, so you don't know who he knows or remembers. And I kind of make my way through the crowd because I need to get ready. I was pretty late. And I get there, and Jeff Carter, who I know well, is sitting right next to my stall. And he's kind of sitting there amidst the masses of people surrounding Bieber. And he's just watching it, and then he looks up and sees me, and he's like, yo. And I was like, hey. And then Justin looks at me, and he just puts out his hand. He goes, Dan, what's up, man? And I was like, oh, my God. And that moment happens, and then everyone in the locker room, Jeff Carter, Steve Carell, Nate Thompson, Teddy Purcell, are all looking at me going, how in the world does Dan know Justin Bieber? And then I sit down, and Kartsy was like, the hell was that? And I was like, I honestly have no idea. So to this day, I don't know if Justin remembers me or if he literally just saw my name on a nameplate and was like, I'm going to be a nice guy. But it made me look really, really cool. So
We're going to go with he remembers
beer
you.
league. Yeah,
From
he
beer league.
remembers you.
it's like, he's like, that's my beer league pal.
Yeah.
And we're sticking to
That's
that story.
my D partner or whatever
Yeah.
position you play with.
like mind these other Hall of Famers. Like that's my beer league.
Exactly. Forget these guys. Forget Steve Carell over there.
Oh my
man.
God.
Well, that seems like a wow, like a holy shit moment sort of thing. Chris, do you have any of those type of moments within the podcast, within, any hockey aha moments?
Yeah. Oh man, it's been so cool. It's twofold. There's like that angle where the celebrity game was crazy, and we're in situations like that a lot now that I'm like, what is happening? And then there's also just the hockey side of it, where Four Nations is actually a great example, where that first USA Canada game where it's like the 3 fights in 11 seconds and the Bell Center explodes, the loudest building I've ever been in my life. And I have every friend on earth texting me like, oh my God, this game is incredible. And I'm like, we're here. I'm at this game, And even at the end, we get to go on the ice when the cup gets won, we get to go down on the ice and just like see the guys and whatever. And just kind of standing down there. I remember the first year looking at Dan being like, what happened? We were literally running an Instagram page a year ago,
I love it.
And now you're standing on the ice at the finals. And if you could, not to get sentimental, if you had told 10-year-old me that like, oh, my brother and I will be standing on the ice at the final next to the cup and the celebrating team, I would have never believed you in a million years. So it's kind of twofold. There's the really fun celebrity stuff, which is awesome. Like I'm high-fiving Vince Vaughn and I'm like, holy shit. But honestly, it's the hockey stuff that hits me so hard sometimes where I'm like, no way is this happening to us right now. And that's been really special.
Well, you gotta introduce Julie now that she's in Florida to the elbow room, because you guys know
Oh
the
my
elbow
God,
room
Julie.
quite well.
Yeah.
Julie.
I hear.
You guys were
It's
in
the
every
greatest-
video.
It is the greatest place on planet Earth. You're going to love it.
Yeah, well, I feel like there needs to be a special moment for my first time. So I walk by it almost every day when I go on my little beach walks, and I'm like, it like kind of glows. I'm like, that place.
Yeah, it's a mirage. You're like,
Yeah,
"Is that place
like
real?"
that place. I could walk right there at 10 a.m. and get a beer if I wanted to. But
Wait for Dan and Chris. Wait
Yeah.
for Dan and Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait
save it
for
for
that
us.
outdoor
Needs to
game.
be a moment.
Yeah.
And I just learned about the 24/7 cameras in there, and people sit
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Those might be my favorite TikToks to watch right now. Are like girls watching the elbow room, being like, "Oh," and then they like make up a whole story about what's going on in there. I'm like, this is
I did want to know what you guys thought about the learning that
Terrifying.
there's cameras in the elbow room.
I mean, I'm glad that footage has not surfaced of us there yet. And
you
I-
know your angles in there. You
Yes,
know
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
you
yeah.
do, Julie. No joke. Because
Julie, there's black spots, and I hide
Yeah.
in those.
It's dangerous for sure.
But we've had so many times, like seeing friends or people we know getting kicked out of there, and just everyone knows to go to the cameras right after. You're like, oh, that's going to be great.
It's too good. That place. It's on the list, but it's got to be a special moment. I can't just
Outdoor
like, go
game.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outdoor game.
Oh,
That's a
yes.
good point. That's a good point.
Coming
I
up
think
here.
I'll fly in for that too. Question with you guys with the pod. Has there ever been a guest where you just felt so awkward and just nothing was landing?
Honestly, no. And that honest, Kat, that's an awesome question. I actually love that question because the first time we got a similar question, it made us really, really think. And off the record, I'm not saying off the record now, but in times and conversations, people have been like, off the record, has anyone sucked? Has anyone been terrible?
Oh yeah.
And I will say there is one player, and I'm not going to say who it is, who
Tell you
whenever
after.
that question gets asked, we do have an answer. But otherwise, you two know it. It's like they're the sweetest boys in the world. They're the
Yeah.
best guys ever. And I think, not to pump our tires, but the whole vibe of our show, the entire environment that we try to create is making them feel like they're just sitting around with their buddies having a chat. We're not
Oh, I know.
grilling them. Yeah, yes. you can't, well. So, I think we do a good job of getting them to feel comfortable like that and just, shoot the shit and have some fun.
But Dan,
yeah,
do
go.
you have one?
No, go
I
for
was just
it.
going to say 2 times. One was Andrew Ferentz, and the other one, maybe I won't say, but I'll tell you after. And Julie, just like the ChatGPT thing, like we do so much research, right?
Yeah.
But more than half the time, I don't already know the guy. Sometimes I do, but more than half the time, we're meeting for the first time. So I only going off all these articles that I've read for hours and all this stuff. And with Ference and one other person, I asked something about like a family member or whatever that it just wasn't on as good of terms as I thought, and they were like, "Yo," and I was like, "Oh, my bad." So there's been like two occasions where I'm like,
Yeah.
"Sorry, didn't
I
know."
was-
You're like-
Yeah.
I was curious where you were going with that because I was like, Ference is the funnest guy in the world.
No,
but
they were both
that
amazing
was
interviews,
funny.
but there's like I've had a couple awkward questions within a
Yes.
non-awkward interview where you're like, "Fuck,
Now,
my bad."
I will say, and Kat, I think you might know where I'm going with this. The few awkward interactions happen in real life, not on the pod.
yeah.
And Julie, you had made reference earlier to your kids watching us in the background and thinking that we're picking certain things. The funniest moments we have with fans or players or family members is when they don't realize that 99% of what we're doing is a bit. You know, like we're just joking around all the time. And sometimes people come up to us and they're like, I can't believe you think this, that, or the other. And I'm like, I don't. I'm saying that to be funny.
Oh.
And we had the funniest run-in with the Quicks that has ever existed of all time, where basically, just to keep it quick, because they are the best, and shout out Jackie, truly the greatest woman on earth.
Shout out Jackie. She's coming on the pod at the end of the season because
Oh,
she's going to
let's
lose
go.
our fantasy league.
Come on, I love
Is
that.
that the punishment?
That's
Yeah,
our
she
football
always-
fantasy
She always
punishment.
loses. She always loses, so that's our like way to get her on the pod.
That's so
Honestly, consistently losing is almost just as impressive as winning.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you got to try.
100%.
But yeah, we had like a funny teasing moment with Matt Rempe, and obviously Mama Bear Jackie was like thought it was serious and was like, "Are you two sons of bitches
Oh.
being mean to Matt?" And we were like, "No," and Matt was like, "No, they're not. It was a joke." And then she obviously became the sweetest person in the world. But there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, my
oh
God,
yeah, that's her child.
we
That's-
might be in
Yes,
trouble. Like
you
that's
don't
her
match.
child. Like we might be in
Oh, yeah.
trouble here."
I was like, I have to leave, dude. Like, I have to go home.
I love
Oh, I can see it. I can just see the interaction. I love it. So,
So
that. That's
good.
awesome.
your face was probably like white as a ghost. I'm
But
sure.
honestly,
yeah,
it's
mine
like
was for real.
yeah, that I couldn't have asked for a better introduction to her because it shows every single reason why everyone loves her because she's the greatest person ever.
Yep, very passionate, and very loyal, and very loving. So
That's why
I'm
she's
glad that
got
you
to
got
come
that.
on.
Yeah, I'm
oh
glad
yeah,
that you got
she'll
that
be incredible on this show. My goodness.
That's amazing. Well, okay, so hockey players, all this stuff. We asked you your favorite movie, and you guys gave me quite a plethora of interesting movies as your favorites. We'll get into that.
Everything
in
from
person.
Paddington to The Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
large
land
delta, Julie.
Yeah.
That's-
I was like, we're gonna narrow it down. We're gonna just go straight to Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah.
Oh, I love
So we're just gonna, you know what? Because Harry Potter is very big in Canada. It's basically a hockey movie because all the Canadian hockey players like grew up with it. So we wanted to ask you.
Is that a fact,
To-
Kat? Like Harry Potter?
Oh my god, yeah, Harry Potter. Like Tyler went to Harry Potter for school. It was like a field trip. They would like go to
Oh.
Harry Potter. Very, yeah. It's this thing.
Interesting.
Well, actually,
Uh,
hold on, Kat, real quick. Julie, Harry Potter Christmas movie or not?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
wow,
Yeah,
bad
I'm not,
take.
No, it's like strictly Halloween. Maybe like you can go into
Oh.
November with it, and then you can like cut it off. But I'm not watching that in December. Like
Julie, Harry Potter Thanksgiving movie for Julie.
Yeah, Halloween.
Like-
Halloween.
Classic horror movie, spooky season Harry Potter for Julie.
I'm like, no, there's nothing Christmassy about that to me. Sorry.
It's definitely
that's
it's
my hot
definitely a
take.
Christmas movie. It's definitely a Christmas
I
movie.
mean, it was. I'm shocked to hear this. It was like the whole thing when we were younger. Is it was playing 24/7 on ABC Family or like Freeform or whatever the hell it was.
See,
but-
I don't recall
yeah, the
that.
train. The train is very Christmassy.
Yeah.
It's like
If I'm
Polar
watching
Express.
anything about train, it's Polar Express. Exactly. Like Harry
Yeah.
Potter's too spooky to be around. You know, they're
Spooky.
witches and warlocks. We are not doing that around the holiday season of Christmas, you guys. I guess Hollywood does. but,
Honestly, fair. Like I actually, I've never
3-1.
really looked at it from that lens, but that's true.
you know, it's
Well,
hot
it's,
take.
that's a very funny take, Julie.
Yeah.
Okay, we wanted to ask you to cast Harry Potter in hockey players.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Wow, that's so good.
That
And
is
this is
so
also-
good.
This is also the question that the fan also asked us, and this was our.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so
Damn.
Yeah,
Well, great
they were-
question, you two, and great question, fan.
Okay. Any
Um,
characters in particular you want us to hit, or just kind of anyone that comes to mind?
Anyone that comes to mind, honestly.
Well, we have to say Sid is Harry because he's the chosen one.
Ooh, good one,
Okay.
Dan. I was
mean,
gonna go
I-
younger, but that's pretty good.
That's a good one.
He's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one.
Dan,
I
maybe
mean, he's-
maybe Brent Burns is Hagrid.
Oh, I love that
Excellent.
call.
That's
I feel pretty.
love that.
I feel pretty good
call.
about that.
I'm trying to think of.
Dumbledore.
Yeah, I was thinking someone who's really wise, and I could see Anja being Kopi being Dumbledore.
That's a good
Very
one.
wise, kind of always overseeing everything, taking care of people, and then also insanely talented. That actually might be perfect.
That's good,
You know?
Dan. That's good.
Okay,
we
let's
have
go
a
to-
chance. We have a really great chance. I'm gonna say Will Smith is Dobby the elf. I think they
I
have
wasn't even
incredible.
going to that.
They have they have incredible similar statures and just like looks. Muscle mass. Muscle mass is
loves
exactly
nice
the
socks,
same.
Dan. Loves nice
Loves
socks.
socks.
I
Loves
thought
nice
you were gonna
socks,
give
Will, yeah.
Will the what's his name with the hair, the blonde hair. What's
Oh, Gilderoy
Lockhart?
Lockhart. That would have been
Oh.
actually wonderful.
That he probably would have loved that.
Yeah, he
yeah.
would've
So
loved that.
I
That would've been
love
too
yeah.
nice.
Dobby's way better. I like Dobby.
Who's gonna be Ron Weasley? Like who's
Yeah,
our
that's what I was just trying to
ginger?
figure out.
You, Julie.
Yeah, you.
Always wanted to be a hockey player.
Damn, that's a. I mean, it could like Owen Tippett is a great immediate if we're going just on hair color. But I was trying to think, Chris, who's someone who's eating all the time? Because
Ooh,
that is
yeah.
very Ron. Ron is always eating, always getting in trouble.
Who just told
Jeez.
us this, Dan? Was it Crides? Who was like, I'm
Yeah,
the garbage
Crides is always
disposal?
eating.
Yeah,
but Crides is too much. Crides is more of Hermione. He's a brain. He's always.
Yeah,
I mean, God.
Crides is Hermione.
Julie's really good at graphics, so she'll be able
I'm
to.
putting this all
put
like
this
keep
together.
going.
Oh wow, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think
Is
we
Macklin
need-
in Harry Potter?
honestly was just thinking who Macklin could be.
Because if Will's
Mac
Dobby, Mac's
is-
got to be close to that.
Yeah.
True. They're just together.
yeah.
Dan, who's Dobby's best friend? Mac,
Who's
no, Mac, give
Dobby's
me another.
best
Maybe Max. Dan, maybe Max. Maybe Max Colin Creevy, who's always taking pictures. You know, like the little kid who's always taking pictures. Because him and Will do their little dinner book. He likes to document things.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
So cute.
Mac could be a Cedric too. You know,
Oh, that's high praise.
handsome kid, talented kid, kind of a goofball.
We need a
they're
Snape,
both,
Dan. We
both
need a
of
Snape.
those. No, I see. I don't know
Ooh.
if anyone could possibly match Snape.
Is there like a
why?
coach?
He's too
Ooh, that's
too
a
layered of a
really good
character.
call.
There's got to be like a scary coach. That...
Yeah, Rod the Bod, or Torts. Torts is Snape. Torts is Argus Filch, the caretaker.
Okay, this is amazing. If you guys come up with any other supporting cast members after this because you're finally like leaning into it, just text us and we
Yeah.
will
Just a text.
we will share what the full cast of Harry Potter looks like. to
Truly,
empty netters.
you've opened a door here for us. Like we might cast the entire movie. now that
I
we
love
think
it.
about
I love it. We can't wait to see it. Oh, that's good.
All right. So another thing we asked you, just for time here, was about game day fits because this is a huge deal. Not having to wear
Yes.
suits. In my opinion, we've matched now the other leagues in creativity now. You know. So you sent me a couple. Can we rank our favorites?
I need to pull them up again.
We can. I do, however, want to say I absolutely hate this.
What?
I hate that we've removed suits.
Oh,
I'm with
wow.
Dan. I'm
I'm
a
I'm with Kat.
traditional.
I'm with Kat. I'm with Kat.
I
blondes
thought,
agree.
High fiving across the screens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agree,
we're-
Julie. To me, it was. There's a couple of things. I hear you, Kat, on the creativity, and that is cool. And if guys lean into it, I love it. But I've always hated that about the NBA and the NFL when guys come in with some of the what looks flashy and creative, but it's just lazy. It's a sweatsuit, and I'm like, come on, man, like give me some effort here. And there's just something that felt so classy and distinguished about the NHL, how these guys would come in looking amazing in their suits. And then, frankly, I appreciate more when people whip out creativity in the confines
Within
of
the
a suit.
suits. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
I'm bummed out about it.
I like a jersey. You know, like
Well,
wearing a
yes.
Toronto jersey is cool. I like that.
That's cool. But how I think of it is I am the mother of some youth hockey players now. And I think it's like teaching discipline and things like that when they're getting ready for their games and they're traveling. And like I thought when I went to college, I met Jeff at Michigan State. Like that was the first time I was around hockey. And I'm like, what? They put on suits to go to Wisconsin? Like this is crazy. But it looked so nice. Now I see these kids even coming for their whatever games at, 15 years old, and they're in suits and they're in ties, and I love it. And I'm like, crap, what's going to happen to this? You give a little inch, and now these kids are going to roll in Ugg boots, and it's going to be a mess, So I'm with you, Dan.
All right.
Julie's
Agree to
spot
disagree.
on. It's
Agree
going
to
to trickle
disagree.
down. It's going to
It's
trickle
like-
down. Now,
It's all, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
so,
All right, so
all
let's-
that to say,
Yeah, all that aside, you can rank even if you liked a suit, I guess, I suppose. So who were your favorite, did you think of who your favorite ones were?
well, Chris included a couple photos to you, Kat.
Yes.
And one thing I will say, you just mentioned it. I do love intercity support or hometown support. So some of the boys rocking Blue Jays jerseys while they're in the playoffs. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I shout out, I think Max Domi. I think Mac had a Blue Jays jersey on.
Yep.
But also, I give Mac grief all the time about where he's from and what his fandom should be. I mean, like he's like a fake Canadian.
But with a very heavy accent.
Yes, true. And I think he's always up there. But Willie had a very cool, like, I don't know what it was, but it was a Carhartt Dickies style vibe, like heavy work coat with the matching pants and the white tank top on under it. And he had a pair of Nikes that were a beautiful contrast of brown to
zoom in on the
the
shoes.
suit that I
And a
I
man
really
purse.
appreciate
And a
it.
merce. He had
Oh,
a
he's
merce.
always rocking
Yeah,
a
I
merce,
saw
which
that
I
too.
appreciate. So I thought Willie was bringing
I want to
the heat.
know what's in the merce. Like that's
Agree.
the next question. Like what are we taking? Like we don't
Skittles. It's Skittles.
Skittles?
Yeah,
That's all.
snacks.
snack.
I mean, and then we love conspiracy, all of us. The conspiracy of how much it cost just kept morphing everywhere.
yeah.
But
That
then
was
you
pretty
know these
funny, too.
guys, they probably swindle it for free, and that's
well, right now they're getting Gucci deals.
Yeah, that's a good-
And Julie, though, I do want to say too, your criticism of the dress code is, I think you're right. There is a fine line because, like Kat, I love when it's like, oh, they're rocking a Blue Jays today, or Willie's doing that. That's where I thought it would go when they said no suits. I do hate when guys just come in like a polo, like a regular polo tucked in. I'm like, oh,
So you hate
I thought you could do
Tyler's
that.
outfit?
yes. I'm like, dude, show off. You know,
Kat-
like I
Kat
want something
dressed him.
cool.
That's as far as I could get him. I got him a nice polo. That's as far as I could get his creativity. Damn it.
It's interesting. It's funny because I feel like I saw most people still in suits. I think it's their comfort.
Yeah.
I think it's part of their pregame ritual. Quite honestly, my husband got like a new sport coat and some new pants. I'm like, you better effing wear those. Like, I know how much those cost. So before,
Yeah.
when he's done playing, he's going to like blow up a little bit. He's not gonna be able to fit in them. So I'm like, you gotta wear these. And he's the same. He's like, this is just our routine. Maybe as they get more comfortable, they might, but it's going to be out of laziness for Jeff. It's going to be like, I just like, I can go in this.
Yeah.
But
I did have that moment, Julie, where when I saw the guys still in suits, I was like, I gave them that like
Dan was fired up.
Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio head nod of like, good
Okay.
job, good
Yeah.
job, boys.
You got
Like,
the message.
You kept doing it.
Yeah.
that was great.
so,
Right. So
we'll
we
see how
hate
long.
Tyler's style. That's how that came about.
Yes, Ty, pick it up, buddy.
All right, so let's jump ahead to some fan questions because I love when you reposted us and you said, let's get unhinged here because we love that. So we did get quite a few not safe for work ones that we can't ask you guys. We actually got
After.
You guys are a little popular with the ladies. It's pretty fun to get those questions.
I'm telling you, we talked about it. It's the bleed over from the Sharks fans. So, I don't know if you're aware of this, Julie. Sharks fans
not
are
on
the
Twitter.
horniest people in the world. It's crazy. Anytime we post anything, it could be like a penalty. And they're like this, I wonder what goes on in that box when the lights are off. And I'm like,
yeah.
what's wrong with you guys? It's crazy.
They're into the
It's
smut hockey world.
Big time.
Like,
Big time.
Honestly,
Yeah.
when you guys even aren't on the show, I'm just going to pull questions for you guys because I enjoyed it. Really,
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
fun.
Yeah, I like that actually.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'll just
We'll
send
just
them to
touch
you.
base.
Yeah, free content. Okay, so hockey doesn't exist. What's your podcast about?
Oh my God, fantasy books, 100%,
Yep, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And listen, there's we're reading for the followers of Empty Netters. We're reading a very erotic hockey smut book right now on the pod. It the fantasy books wouldn't go that hard.
Wait,
but I will
wait,
say-
Chris, hold
doesn't
on.
exist.
Chris, pause.
What?
Julie, I'll give you 2 guesses what the name of the book is.
No, I don't even
She's
want to
not,
try
her,
to guess.
her mind doesn't go there.
I am
It's
as
the book is called Pucked.
wow.
Hey, somebody asked me a
could've
question
got
about that for
Wow.
you guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
see, there you
actually
go.
did like read something, and I was like, what does that even mean? Like,
I
read-
didn't understand it. I was like, why do people keep saying pucked? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Now
right.
we're up with it. Okay. So
All right. Yep.
Okay,
Julie. All right.
great.
Next one.
next one. What hockey players would be in your ultimate golf foursome? Golf foursome, people.
Yeah, seriously.
God,
God.
I,
That was
mean, I don't know what
good.
kind of
was good,
listeners we're
Julie.
getting right now, so I want to make this clear.
Well, Tyler, but I
You had
but
to.
screw Tyler. We don't need to include him.
We hate his outfits.
Yeah, that's
and
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Dan, no one that we already hang with a lot.
Yeah, agree.
I'll put that caveat on
Yeah, just
Okay,
like
that's a
dream.
good one. Dream.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
dream. It could be dream guest / foursome. You know what I mean? Like pod.
Yeah.
If you're doing all at the same time.
Let me go. Can I do two older guys and then 2 current guys for all of your fans?
Whoever you
All right,
want.
older guys, give me Nicholas Lidstrom,
Oh,
and give me Jerome McGinley. Nailed that. Wow. Love that for some. I've never even thought about that. And then new, because we want to have some fun here, I'll stick in Detroit. Give me Dylan Larkin, my boy. I love him, and he's so good at golf.
He's
and
so
I haven't
good
golfed
at
with him. And give me someone silly and funny. But yeah, don't want to be someone that we know. If you have one, you can go.
okay. I have 2 so far. Joe Thornton, just because I don't even know if he golfs, but I'm just
Great
like
choice.
yeah,
He does.
that would be
He
Great
does, and
choice.
That would
Ty
be
did.
great.
Ty did, and it was a time. He said so. Good choice. yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, like that sounds awesome. I gotta go Sid just because he's never been on the show and he has some really funny. I heard he's really good and he's got some funny stories about being on the course. And that's kind of when his personality comes out. So I'll go Sid. Maybe.
I have mine.
Okay, go.
I don't know if he golfs. I don't know why I didn't think of this. Give me Ovi. I imagine that would be the funnest round of golf of all time. It would probably be unhinged.
That would.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Dan, I like a Russian. That's actually a really good call.
That's literally where my head went. I was like, give me a Russian.
like maybe
And-
Kucherov. Give me Kucherov. The way he parties after the cup. Like
Yeah.
I'll go.
I'm
with Kuch to
sure
see what
it would be
happens there.
Tame AF.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Zero drinking during that golf
Yep.
round.
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
a good one.
I love it.
And then finish it off maybe Joe Sakic. I've always wanted to
Okay.
meet Joe.
Nice.
He seems like a cool guy, and I was like, I'd love to wave him into that foursome and see how we do.
Heavy Joe vibes for your golf.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa, true.
All the Joes.
Team Joe.
Yeah, Joe's versus the other guys. Yeah, I like that.
I love it. Okay, just for time, I'll just tell you what the last question was, but we can't get into it, but it's funny. What are their suggestions for single ladies wanting to meet a guy at a game? So, anyway.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
A player
wanna
or they mean a fan?
I think just like if they want to go to a game and like meet the one, I don't know, like
I don't know
I
how
don't know,
you're
I-
meeting like in like a Concord, like another fan.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. That was the most tame lady
That was the
type
tamest
question that
stuff.
I
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
Good. I'm glad we're keeping it tame here.
Yes. Okay. Jumping ahead, we're gonna ask some quick hitters. If we want to elaborate on some of them,
Please.
cool. If not, okay. First question. In honor of you two knowing Will and Macklin so well, I'm gonna ask you a question that I've only asked them on this podcast. When you guys look at each other, what animal do you see?
A moose.
They called each other. Oh, what?
a moose.
You see Dan? You see Chris as a moose?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's me as a moose, and Dan's a bear. That was his nickname for as long as we've been alive. My mom called him Bear, so Dan's a bear.
Oh, this is cute.
Oh, that's adorable, Bear.
Very
And it's also,
moosey.
Kat, like Chris's hair is usually really long.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
And-
like mine. Chris and I normally are twinning.
Yeah, truly, like they have the exact same hair.
Yeah.
And Julie, Chris doesn't do much to his hair to keep it tame and looking nice. So usually when it's long, he wakes up and it's just like poofed, so it looks like he has antlers. It's
I
great.
can see it. Okay.
Moose and bear, cuties. All right.
Cool. I love that. What are y'all watching together? If y'all watch anything together.
Ooh. Well, you know what? We used to live together, and that was really fun, and we could watch stuff all the time. We don't anymore. What's the last thing we watched together?
Or you're like,
Movies
you
all the
gotta
time.
watch this.
Like always movies, like any new movie
Always,
that we like,
yeah,
we're always
yeah.
doing that. But the last show, Dan, maybe White Lotus. We watched White Lotus, right?
We watched White Lotus together, but we've also we've watched a lot that we're trying to watch it together but separate, if that makes sense.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, you keep dropping the ball. Mobland
Yeah,
is
I know.
so
I'm behind.
good.
You
and
know
I'm
what?
like,
This is
watch
very
Mobland.
wag of y'all because our husbands typically like go watch a show on the road and leave us in the dust or
Yeah.
vice versa. So
Oh no,
it's very
we
wag
are
of y'all.
coordinating. We're coordinating. I'm like, what episode do you want? Yeah. We
Yeah,
time it
yeah.
up nice.
I love it.
I love it. Okay. Fave restaurant and how often do we go together?
Oh wow, that one's gonna be like never go together.
Oh.
But we do. Oh, actually, shout out Mel's.
I was gonna say, dude,
That's
you
a
just
good
got on the Mel's
one.
train.
Mel's Diner.
Iconic.
Mel's
Iconic.
Diner,
Yep.
and it's you know what, Chris, huge fan of Mel's.
I love a diner.
Oh, you've always been a big diner guy, and it used to kind of be like twisting my arm. I'd be like, okay, because I every now and then I'll be a baby about like I want something healthier, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I have since moved into a lovely new place that is right next to Mel's. And I recently went there, and they were like, "Hey, you're a local," and they gave me a free T-shirt. And Chris was like, "This is bullshit.
I've been coming there for years.
place
I
is
can't
mine."
get a shirt.
What a flex. Wow.
Okay, most embarrassing song you know every word to.
Oh my god! And literally any Backstreet Boys song, any one of them.
We should go to the Sphere together. when they
Fun.
come back.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would.
Oh my
I've
gosh,
seen.
I'm dying
I've
to do
seen
that with
them
That would be fun.
in Vegas. And actually, this is a fun fact for you guys. The first movie Chris and I ever sold or paid to write was a movie about a bunch of women in their 40s who were big fans of a boy band when they were teenagers, who then go to their reunion concert that is on a cruise ship.
Cruise, yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's
fantastic.
amazing.
I've literally choreographed a dance to a series of Backstreet Boys songs in
Fact.
my college days.
A
So
big Backstreet Boy fan.
big
Love it.
Backstreet
Back.
Boys guy.
Yeah, listen,
That's-
we said we're 87, 89. We're kids of that generation. Like you could have said
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, like anything in that era. I know every word to, and and I'm not embarrassed. about it, but
Actually,
it's amazing.
mine is also musical. Like I was a musical theater guy, so like, and, like
Wow.
Newsies, Les Mis, any of those, I know every single word. So
That's amazing.
those are actually, I'm not embarrassed by that at all.
No,
I'm proud
you
of that.
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's well rounded.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple last ones. Favorite hockey player to follow on any social media platform?
Marshy, but he
I was just
had to
about to
delete
say
his
Marshy.
Twitter.
when he gets
Oh.
loose on Twitter.
You guys, I have
All
the
time.
funniest story about that. So we're, new teammates, and I'm visiting with his wife, and we're talking, I'm talking with Brad's mom and his wife, and they're talking about him on Twitter and things like that. And Katrina, I hope she's okay with me sharing it. It's not anything bad. She's like, oh my gosh, I know when he's on carpool duty because he's just sitting in that carpool line and opens up Twitter and starts firing it off. And I just thought that was so funny because it's so relatable. Like these guys, he being a dad of 3 and he's sitting in the carpool line just like Jeff is. They go to practice and then they have like maybe an hour to kill. And then you want to be first in the carpool line or, to get your kid or
Yeah.
else you're waiting for some time.
And
And
he's
when
just
you're
tweeting.
waiting, that just it made me laugh so hard that he's just sitting in carpool line like firing it off. But he deleted. Is that what you're saying? He deleted.
So he told. Well, we had a really funny situation where we were actually in we were playing in this like semi-pro tournament thing in Jackson, Wyoming.
Oh.
And we did a remote podcast, and we'd had a couple pops, so we were, like Kat, having a few glasses of wine. The California accent came out, and Chris made a joke. We were talking about, gear wear, sty, and stuff like that. And I was saying I don't really love when guys don't wear visors. And Chris made a joke where he was like, I think they should wear cages in the league. I think it's crazy that these guys just let their faces hang out there and get injured. And we turned that into a clip. And like I said earlier, one of those classic moments where people just don't understand we're kidding. It goes super viral. And the top comment was Brad Marchand going, someone take this idiot's microphone away, like blah, 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 blah. So we then later that year, we're good friends with a bunch of Swayman and Hampus Lindholm on the Bruins and Charlie and all those guys, and they were dying laughing about it. So we see the guys in Nashville when they were playing the Preds, and I went up to Brad, and we had actually not met yet, and I was like, can you go up to Chris and be like, get the hell out of here, you idiot, and act like you're still mad about that?
So good.
And he did, and Chris was like, oh my God.
It was awful.
But-
I mean, it was
but then-
amazing after, but
So
in the moment, I
funny.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
So we were just like
yeah.
joking about it, and Julie, he told us that when he was named captain of the Bruins, they made him delete his Twitter because they're like, dude, you're the captain now. You can't be doing this.
Oh, it's so good. Well,
His Insta stories after they won of just thank you.
Oh my
You know,
God.
That
that was-
all time. All
Just
time.
like the as petty as it gets, and I love it.
And every guy in the league loved it. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
it's really funny how the algorithm's working on Instagram. Like recently, I feel like within the last year, it's like it bumps people's comments up to the top or whatever that you see or you follow.
Yeah.
And it's just funny when you're like, oh my God, they did not just comment on that,
Yeah.
And it's just the best thing ever. 'Cause
Oh, it's hysterical.
So
they're
good.
they're real people, and it's funny to hear inside their brains.
Yeah.
Favorite conspiracy theory right now?
Dan, this is a dangerous one for Dan right now.
agreed.
You know,
I
maybe we
can't.
should save this for our part two.
Dan's been in the
We're
weeds.
gonna offline about because I love a conspiracy.
Yeah, we need to
theory.
offline this. Okay.
But I will say a tame one. Do you know about the Finland conspiracy?
I was just going to say that.
No.
So there's this amazing conspiracy that Finland is actually not a real country. And
Oh,
it
I've been
is-
there.
No, you haven't. That's
No, you haven't. See, that's the thing, Kat. No, you haven't.
No, I'm part of it.
so the conspiracy is that Finland is actually just part of Russia, and it's used as an operation site where they funnel a lot of their illegal or dark activities through. And everyone who lives in Finland or is from Finland is a part of the project, and they're actually sleeper cells all over the world.
Oh wow.
And like any good conspiracy, you go deep enough into the rabbit hole, you start reading some articles where you're like, honestly, that one kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
mean-
I'm not even scratching the surface.
Yep.
with
We have
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of guys we have a lot of guys that we can ask that we know about this from there.
Well,
so
that's the thing is they're in on it, and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? Of course,
Oh,
Finland is real."
gosh.
we don't even have time to get into this, but I'm just going to say a blanket statement. I am the biggest. This isn't even conspiracy theory because it's real, but I'm the biggest alien UFO person
Oh, yeah,
you have ever
that's-
met. So
Like the pyramids, as
Yeah.
far as Chris
Yeah,
is
yeah.
concerned, built by
Made
the
by
aliens.
Yeah.
simple as that. So
I mean,
yeah,
they're
like,
already walking amongst us. Like I've seen a few. You know, like
Literally.
it's
100%.
literally.
Men in Black is a documentary. It's
Yeah.
not a movie.
yeah. We're in the Men in Black simulation.
I need a full. We're going to Mel's and then we're gonna go just
Oh
sit
my
on
God.
the beach and talk about all this.
I have a
stuff.
crazy one for
Legitimately
you.
sounds
that-
like the
yeah.
greatest time of my life.
It does.
I wonder-
Mel's,
have y'all
Mel serves wine too.
Have y'all
so.
They
seen
do.
the thing
Yeah, they do.
where you like host a conspiracy theory night and everybody has to dress up?
Dress
like it?
up.
I feel like that would be just like the fun.
That's actually an incredible idea, Julie.
It's
is
not
a
mine.
Apollo
That's actually an
night.
incredible idea. Yeah, we should do
it's
that.
TikTok's idea.
Okay, yeah,
but,
yeah.
Good
that is so
Lord.
good.
It's
You guys
I
should
love
definitely
that.
do one of those for sure. You
Yeah.
should host it and then
Yeah,
come dressed.
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Have you ever been starstruck and by whom?
Oh, great one.
You know, I love this question because I always kind of tease myself. When we moved to LA,
Yeah.
I kind of put it in my head. I was like, it's such an asshole take. I was like, don't ever get starstruck by someone. It's like you're too cool for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not too cool for that. And I think the one that comes to mind, this is going to be outside of hockey, so hockey fans. Robert Redford, this is topical, rest in peace, was my hero early. our dad loved Robert Redford. So when we were young, when he started introducing us to film, it was like Robert Redford film after Robert Redford film. So when I was young, I kind of got programmed to think like, this is a movie star. This is what a movie star is. And also all those older movies from the 70s and 80s, the aura in the way those were filmed, like they look and feel like movie stars. And I went to Sundance Film Festival, which Robert Redford helped found years and years ago. And I was at a screening of something, and I was standing in this main meeting room, and I turned, and he was right in my face. And it's the one and only time where I truly could not speak, and I felt like the biggest idiot in the world because I had a million things I wanted to say to him. And I just went, I put my hand out, and he shook it, and I went, I said, "You are such an honor." And I meant to say, "This is such an honor." And I said, "You are such an honor." And then he kind of looked at me odd, and I then like pulled him into a weird hug, and it wasn't my finest
security.
moment. But I'll tell you what,
sweet.
meeting Robert Redford, I melted like a snow cone. It was
Okay,
hard.
I'm going to give you hockey, music, acting. Hockey, I think in the context, we got to do a live show with Ray Bork, and I'd actually met him once before when we were really little, but just growing up Boston fans, he was like the guy, and he was like our dad's favorite player, and just like being on stage with him at NHL All-Star Weekend, I was like, whoa, this is sick. And that was really cool. Then music, there's a band called OAR. They were so popular in the early 2000s. Yeah. And I've seen them live 6 times, more than I've ever seen any other band. They
Yes.
came on our show this summer, and it was so cool because I'd seen them live so many times, and I was like, I
that's
can't
sick.
believe like you guys are coming on my hockey podcast. And then Julie, for you, I wasn't
Aw.
starstruck in a way that you react weirdly, but I was like, this is so sick, was meeting Tim Riggins when Taylor Kitsch was at the game and we were hanging out. I was just like, dude, I was
Yeah.
obsessed with that show, and that was a really fun moment to just be hanging out and playing hockey with him all time.
That would be awesome.
I told Dan this real quick, but I always threw Friendsgivings in LA, and the whole team would come over, and somebody was friends with him, so he came to our Friendsgiving, and we're all in onesies, and he was in a leather jacket, and I thought he was a random person. I had no idea. You know what I mean?
One of these
Yeah.
things is not
He's
like the
in our Friendsgiving LA Kings photo. We're all in like animal onesies, and he's literally in the back in a leather jacket, looking confused as hell why he's in a house
That is
at a
so
Friendsgiving.
funny.
It was so random. Anyway, I'll send you that picture.
You have to send me that picture.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
it's
need that.
So weird. I never elaborated to you when I told you that. Okay, last question. Advice for us in season 2 of our podcast.
I would say implement something new, because I always find that while there might be times where like the fans are loving everything, you sort of feel like you're in autopilot mode when you're like, yep, we're doing the same segments. We're talking about the same thing. When you add stuff, funny topics, segments, games, that makes it more fun for you, it makes it 10 times more fun for the listeners because they can feel how much fun you're having. So always change, add stuff, add bits,
I love
add
that.
little games for yourselves.
That's great, Dan. Really good one. And I'll say, you both do this already a little bit, but I would say lean in even harder. Let people know you. Like just tell the embarrassing story. Tell the you're like, oh, I don't want to say that on the air, but it's like whatever. It's just people when
Yeah.
they feel like they're just hanging out with you and getting to know you. It's amazing, and we get so many comments about I'll do this such good hockey analysis, and I think my segment was so awesome. And then all the YouTube comments are like, Chris had a teddy bear when he was a kid, because like I told one stupid story at the beginning, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the more fun you can have and just be yourself and be so open about it, I think people really love that.
ChatGPT is going to find it all out eventually, so
exactly.
you might as well just let
Great
it
point.
go.
I'm
Dad.
done chat GBTing our new guest that I don't know enough about. That I mean, you guys have set the record straight, and we're good, but I'm never gonna lean to them anymore.
Yeah.
Basically, get ahead of your own narrative is what you're trying
Yes.
to say.
Yes.
Create a
Chat
story.
GPT.
Create the story yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. You guys are awesome. I knew this was going to be fun, but when you guys reposted our post last night being like, make this chaotic, I went into like, no, don't make this chaotic.
Yeah. you messaged. You were like, I do not want that.
Yeah,
And
I was like, no
well,
chaos allowed. We need a little bit of like, linear like outline.
Yeah.
Anyways, this was great. I just enjoyed talking to y'all and get to know y'all so much. it's evident. You guys are just part of this hockey world, and everything about your story is that this hockey world is so small, and when it comes back full life, it's just your people, and that it always, that's how it is for me and Kat too. It's like we came into it late with our boyfriends and then husbands, and it is like that. It's just what goes around comes around. I'm raising kids in this hockey world now, and it is something so special, and you guys just emulate that. And I really just loved this conversation and can't wait to chat again.
Back at you guys. This has been a blast. We're so happy to do it, and you just said it perfectly. It's like at the end of the day, we are all family, and it's the best. That's why it's the greatest group of people in the world.
Just come on up whenever you want, you know?
Let's go.
Oh, I mean, like, that's happening. I
Done.
promise.
Yeah, very soon.
I'm so glad you met Dan and Chris.
They're awesome. They are so funny. Note to self, don't chat GPT new guests.
Yeah, but Chris told you he's done the same thing before, and that's like, you know what I mean? Like
That was so funny, but that is like our world, right? It's like right at our fingertips, and half of it's going to be wrong.
Well, it's like how AI says that I have all those kids, you know? Like, that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. I was like, well, I have 15 children on AI. Okay, so this is so crazy. When we brought up to the guys the fan question that was word for word what we talked about last night about the Harry Potter movie, something we never brought up on this pod from Nick Suzuki's episode was I can't even explain it. We asked for fan questions, I believe. Or how did that?
No. We said we posted the silhouette
Guess Who?
of Nick.
Yes.
And we said, guess who our first guest is. So people wrote in, da-da-da-da.
Almost everyone said Nick. Everyone.
9% was Nick.
Yep.
We got a couple of Jeff Molsons. And then one person wrote Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
If you listen to our interview, the one person that Nick said he would be starstruck by or would love to meet was Adam Sandler. And we were like, what?
So we polled the question, and then like somehow this fan, if you're listening and you were the one that thought that the Nick Suzuki, by the way, I guess the clues I wrote were he's a captain of a Canadian team. He's Canadian.
But you still wrote Adam Sandler.
You still wrote, he's a cat dad. You wrote Adam Sandler. So how did you get there? Can you DM the pod, please? We want to know how you guessed Adam Sandler and how that correlated with also being Nick's, who he wants to meet in the celebrity world. It's just
funny.
so manifesting.
Feels
weird.
like somebody is in one of our phones.
Yes, that's what we said. We said maybe one of our producers messing with us because they know what we're gonna ask and they listen to Nick's interview.
Yeah, like so they have fake Instas going and then they like just.
Yeah, does Matt have a Finsta and he's just making me crazy?
Anyways, it was crazy, and just like today when we asked them to cast the Harry Potter movie, a fan wrote in that same exact question. Like that was one of our questions.
It's crazy.
And then they wrote, have them cast the movie of Harry Potter. Like
in hockey players.
It was we can't even explain it. So like somebody's either messing with us or this is true, like just serendipitous moments. Magic.
Or our brains work the same way as these people that are guessing.
Funny things happening in our podcast world. And just I can't wait to chat with them again. They were great. I feel like they were, I don't know, they're just the easiest guys to talk to, and I love their story of how they're where they are. Like
I know we had a little time thing with them because they actually have a huge meeting. They were so nice to give us the time this morning, but they have a huge movie meeting that they had to run off to. But we had so many other questions for them, so we'll have to get them back on because now that we kind of got their backstory on this episode,
we're
we can go in.
Now.
Yeah, now we can go in with like the weird questions.
Yeah, we're just gonna start off with all the fun stuff. And
no introduction. We'll just start off with a weird hot take, whatever.
Yeah, I guess my hot take on Harry Potter is a rarity, so I want to know what everybody else is
Julie, that was shocking.
There.
We were all, you could see our faces.
I'm here to shock the world.
I know, that was crazy. Well, speaking of our podcast, next week is our New York trip. We're going to go to the HQ. We're going to shoot some fun things. We're not going to tell you who the guests are, but we'll tease it. I know that people will be very excited.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I guess I can't say anymore because we
No.
will give it away.
Yep.
Very hot commodities.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
It's gonna be
And-
great. But to be back in New York, be back at NHL HQ. So
we're gonna
fun.
take to the streets and make our TikTok
Take
game
to
better.
the-
You know,
We're gonna take to the streets.
Yeah,
we're
we're
bringing
gonna-
Never Offside to the streets.
in the wild.
Yeah, no, super fun, and I'm looking forward to it because I have been sweating my butt off here in Florida in fall, and I'm ready for some fall weather.
Oh yeah,
So-
it's gonna be sweater weather. It's gonna be nice. And just
Sweater
FYI,
weather.
kind of like this week, how we're releasing this a day late. Next week, we're probably gonna release on Thursday. So that's just a heads up because we're going out there and we're filming a few stuff. So anyway,
Yep.
just we're getting off sides with our schedule.
Yeah, we're gonna go offside, Kat. Remember that
Sorry.
whole lesson we gave last year about offside and offsides?
Yes.
We're gonna mess up the timings, but
Yep.
all good. Just super excited to see you in person
I
and
know.
do this in person. It's always fun to reunite, and where I think I'm gonna go to the Islanders game with you.
Yeah,
versus
we're
San
gonna
Jose.
take a train ride to the Islanders game. Julie's gonna come with me to watch the Sharks play. It's
Yeah.
gonna be, again, follow along on our TikTok. I'll get better at it, and our Instagram, and
She's doing great, just like she's doing great at this 9 a.m. recording. So
Oh.
thanks for joining us on this fun episode this week. We had such a blast and hope you are enjoying season 2 so far. Follow along on our Instagram, Never Offside Pod, and Never Offside Pod on TikTok. Things are getting fun over there. And like, subscribe, and do all the things that you do on podcasts and listen to past episodes from this season or last season.
Yep. See ya in NYC.
See ya in New York. Welcome to... Okay, don't cut that.
All right. See ya.
Bye.